everyone, welcome to Last Week On. My name is Adam Straughan and we are back. This is literally my Super Bowl. This is the best time of year. We are back covering Invincible, the brand new season 4, and the first 3 episodes have dropped. But today we're going to be covering episode 1, which I am so excited to talk about, which is making the world a better place. But before we get into that, I have a very special guest who's come back. You know him by now. He loves Invincible just like me. He is the host of Slayfest 98 and the co-host of My Bloody Judy. Welcome back, everyone. Ian Carlos Crawford. How are we doing, Ian?
Hi, good. I'm happy to be here. I'm very flattered to be the first one for episode 1.
Always. I think you're normally the first guest anyway, like whenever I start covering
I think I
Invincible,
have been, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. We're nothing if not consistent, Ian.
You know?
But,
Two old ladies stuck in their way.
oh my God, listen, like honestly, ugh. I was texting to Ian the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be me in 40 in 2 years. Yeah. And Ian's like, shut up, I'm already there.
Yeah, meanwhile, I just turned 43.
Yeah, like a single tear rolled down his cheek as we had that conversation. But yeah, so like I love, as I said earlier, like I love when we're back. I love when Invincible's back on. It's like it's so nice just to jump back into this show because like I mean, even the previously on in this episode, I was like, Jesus Christ, thank God, because there's so much that's happened that I'm like, oh yeah, that, and like previously on Ian, right? That was like a lot to catch up on.
It was, and like I was actually going to ask you if you knew where this season ended in what you read, but you're like, you don't know.
Well, normally, so anyone who has the compendiums or anyone who's watching, I'll show you the size of these bad boys because they're huge. But like, so normally a season has been like half of one. Now,
Okay.
I finished like this is compendium number 2. So like everything that happens, I'm assuming in this season is going to be in this. Now I finished this, so like I'm wondering where this ends is where this season's going to end. So I don't know. But also like Robert Kirkman recently in an interview with Screen Rant, he was talking, he was saying, oh yeah, like for people that have read the comic books as well, like there's a lot of new storylines in there for like, you know, just to give new material, I guess. So like if you remember Ian at the end of season 3, there was this whole thing with like Damien Darkblood when you saw him like in all brand new. That does not happen in here. So even I'm like, I don't know where the fuck that's going. Not a clue. And I'm looking forward though, like to see what else is in there, to see like, oh, this is new. Oh, this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Big thing, for example, last season, like the big fight with Atom Eve and Conquest doesn't even happen. Like in the comic, all of that, literally, Adam Eve turns up to help Mark. She puts up one barrier and then he does like the hand through the stomach thing and kills her so quickly. So I was like, damn, I'm so pleased we got to see that like in the
Yeah.
show because that was like such a highlight of the season finale, right?
Yeah, that's why, because that really was like, that was a good fight. So it's wild
Mhm.
that I wouldn't
I
have liked
know.
that if it was just like, "Merp."
Yeah, same. Because it's nice to see Eve like come into her element. Like you and I
Yeah.
watched like the standalone episode and we got to see how powerful she could be even as a child. So it was nice to see her like go balls to the wall and just be like,
Yeah.
right, let's just fucking go and let's take you on and put up a decent enough fight, you know, before she did the big blast.
I mean, yeah, like she's not like this guy like can punch through anything. So like, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty damn good.
Yeah,
She still died, but like, I
right.
appreciate someone who can put up a fight first.
Exactly. We love our badass bitches who put up a fight,
Yeah.
even if they are going to go out dying. All
Yeah.
right. But let's jump into this episode. So let's kind of give our overall thoughts of what we think of like, you know, a season opening and what we think of this one. So like, Ian, where do you sit with them?
I really liked it. It's like it wasn't a favorite episode per se, but I thought it was a really great opener. They did and I feel like they've done a good job of this in previous seasons where they check in with everyone without it
Yeah.
feeling too like, remember this person, remember this thing.
Mhm.
Just kind of show us where everyone's at now. Like we see Oliver older.
Mm.
And I like that. I thought they do a good job of it without it feeling tedious or like, oh, we have to get through this slog to get to the good
Mhm.
part. And it reintroduces us, reminds us without being annoying. Um, and yeah, I thought it was a really great season opener, honestly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like it's perfectly what you said then. There's a lot of in that which is show don't tell. So
Yeah.
like we could have had a scene where it's like, oh my God, Oliver, you've gotten so much older. You're a teenager now. Do you know what I mean? And it would have been like, okay, like in a lesser written show, we would have had that. But like
Yeah.
you see Oliver older and it's just like, okay, that makes sense. Like, of course he would be. Like times
Right.
moved on, you know, and
Yeah.
like his like skin's getting like less purple and like, you know, he's like just different, like, you know, becoming a different character. I kind of like how bratty he is in this a little bit as
I
well.
did.
Like just a moody teenager.
Well, it's funny
Um,
because, right, the brattiness didn't work for me when he was like a little kid, but it worked
right.
here weird because it wasn't as aggressive. It was just kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to play video games.
Hmm.
Which, like,
I think
yeah,
it's
he's a
just
teenager.
literally, yeah, that's it. Whereas when he was a child, it was annoying. Whereas now he's just like nonchalant, like he just can't
Yeah.
be asked. And I quite like that about him. He's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, can anyone else do this? Like, I just want to play
Yeah.
my games, and I really like that about him. But
Mhm.
but yeah, no, I really liked it. I love. I mean, we might as well go into it, but I really love the opening montage, like with that song, which
Yes.
is the band Nothing But Thieves. If and the song's called If I Get High. There's a song by Nothing But Thieves called Amsterdam that I love. So like, I know of the band, but I'd never heard this song. And I just
Okay.
loved it. I loved it. Ian, like last season did this as well, like montages when we got like, and they played the whole song as well in this opening montage, but it didn't feel like 3 minutes of like a song. Do you know what I mean? Because we were like seeing enemies, we were seeing like Mark out there flying. We were just seeing like, as you said, catching up basically. We were like, oh yeah, time moves on, things I guess still the same.
Yeah.
Criminals are still doing their thing, superheroes are still doing their thing, but I just loved it. I loved it as like a kind of like a welcome back to Invincible. Like this is the kind of shit that you're going to expect. But I really loved that whole opening. What did you think of it?
Yeah. I there was a second when, because we like open on him like drifting in space, and I was like,
Mm.
wait, what happened? But then I realized, oh, it was just like a whatever fight he had in space, and it was like
Right.
fine, right? It wasn't
Hmm.
because there was like a second when I was like, oh, is this gonna be like this is what's gonna happen at the end, and like, blah, but no, it was just, and I liked that, and I liked. I don't know. The show is really good at developing these characters. Like you said, the like Oliver is older. Yes, of course, he's a growing kid, so that makes sense, right? I hadn't even thought of that. Like, well, duh, he grows up. It hadn't occurred to me, but um, I liked that. I forgot the mom had a boyfriend. We were checking back in with that. Like, I liked seeing everything. The new Guardians.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. I couldn't remember. Was the guy that's the new lead? Was he in it last season? I didn't remember
So
him.
yeah, so Brit is his name. So he was in literally there was like the big fight, like when all of the like Invincibles turned up and like Cecil called everybody like he's ever met. He was there, but like they didn't make a point of him.
Okay.
He was just there. So like
Okay.
we saw him and like this will happen in this season. Like we'll see other characters and it'll be like, oh, because the Invincible like franchise is like there's other comics kind of like the way X-Men do it, right? Where there's other comics like that expand the
Yeah.
universe. So there's these heroes over here and these heroes over here and they sometimes like weave in and out and come in and out. But Brit is made like more of a main character in this season, like
Okay.
definitely gonna be. He's voiced by the actor who played Mike in Breaking Bad as well, which is pretty cool.
Oh.
But yeah, so no, we'd seen a flash of him, but it was nice to see him and kind of we didn't have to do a whole origin story of him. It's
Yeah.
just, okay, new leader,
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, even if we didn't see him, it's like, okay, fine, he's the leader. That's fine.
Yeah.
I did notice. I thought that child and the monster died. I thought we saw them die
Right.
last season.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I saw that, I had to go back in my memory and be like, wait a second, that kid. And even I
Right.
was like, I fully couldn't remember. So for me, even that's a question mark. So when I saw him briefly, because we saw a lot of heroes, right?
Yeah.
But him in particular, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I
So-
thought I remembered you and I talking about that.
right. Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna have to go back and check. Because like even now thinking back again, grandma brain. But like even
Yeah.
reading the comic, I'm like, did it address him? I don't even know. Yeah, as you said, Ian, like it did that good thing as well of like introducing us to some new characters without going into like the ins and outs of like this is the new character and
Yeah.
like it's cool to see them. And again, it's like there's that thing what I've said about Invincible, which it keeps building out, but we get our familiar characters that take us through, right? Who we keep like latching onto, like Mark, Debbie, Eve, Cecil,
Yeah.
etc. But yeah, I guess we can talk about Mark in this episode because like his kind of journey starts right at the beginning here when he's flying around and the way that the people in the city look at Mark, it's like he's clearly trying to win them back, right? Like his
Yeah.
image has been shattered. Like clearly there was like what, like 10 marks at one point that were destroying like the entire city, like basically the world. And they all look at him like, oh, it's that guy. And like
Yeah.
people are now looking at him the way that people look at his dad. And Mark
Yes.
obviously can't stand that living in his shadow of his dad, where so long he was seen as like, oh my God, he was the victim of Nolan. But now people are seeing him almost like the new Nolan, right?
Which is unfair.
Yes. Completely unfair.
I'm
But
like, man, be nice to Mark.
I know, Mark, oh baby. Like Mark can do anything and I'm just like, leave him alone. But
Seriously.
but I did like the scene when when he returns home and he's in the shower and he's just looking at himself in the mirror and like all of this. One, it was very Faith Angel season 4 when she's like
Yeah.
thinking back of like fighting like and she like punches like the wall. Like I was literally waiting for
I
Mark to do
same, yes.
that. Yeah.
I was like, Mark, don't punch the wall. Your mom will have to fix that. Like,
Like literally.
man, I feel like every season opens with like, look, Mark's depressed. He has trauma.
Literally. And you know what? Like valid because Jesus Christ, like who else has been through this?
Yes, yeah, no, I'm not discrediting it. I'm just like, this poor
No, no, no.
fucking guy.
I know, can't catch a break. So I like the conversation he's having with Oliver, and he's just like, we got to do this. And Oliver's like, I really can't be asked, man. Just leave me alone. And then even like all of this when he storms up outside and he's talking to Debbie, and Debbie's just like, well, he's been fighting all day. He's allowed to have some time off. Let somebody else do it. And Mark's like, no, 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 like, you know. I don't get to take a break off. I don't get to take like a night off or a break. Like I need to do this, and neither does Boom Invincible.
I did think that
Um,
was clever. It made me laugh.
yeah, definitely. What do you think of the new Invincible title card?
Oh God, was it that day? I feel like it's always just like the Invincible, but then there's just like shit going on. I don't know. I didn't notice.
Did you pick up on the color scheme though?
Yeah.
Like the Viltrumite colors?
Oh, was that what it was? Okay. I knew
Yeah,
there was
yeah, yeah.
different colors, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, right, right. So like the gray and white, like I think last season they showed that one time because it was all the different marks. So like it had all the different colors of each mark's costume. Whereas this is like pure Viltrumite colors there. And I like the little pieces like falling away. And
Yeah.
in my
And it
mind,
was
I kind of know where this is going. So like I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
okay.
I guess with Mark as well, like what's interesting is when we got that clip as well in the previously on when right at the end in the hospital when he's like, you know what, if I just killed Angstrom, not like initially, none of this would have happened, right?
Right.
And obviously that's now playing on Mark's mind where in the last season, so much conflict he came with Cecil is because he kept taking almost like the moral high ground and saying, what are you doing? You can't work with criminals. They need to go in prison. We can't kill people. Like he was really kind of gung-ho and strong with that. Whereas now this is like the point where he's like, oh my God, he's almost like taking the position that Cecil had, where it's like, I need to do what is right to get the job done.
I don't know. He's not wrong. I don't know. Like, I just feel like regular rules don't apply. Like the same thing I say with Yellow Jackets, like eat me. I
Hmm.
don't care. The rules don't apply in this, and like it feels like in this world. I get it. I don't mean to sound like a conservative, but
No.
like this world is different. There always is a monster, a fucking alien, something trying to kill every person on Earth and Mark, especially.
Hmm.
I don't know. I kind of get it. I don't know.
No, no, Ian, I'm completely with you. Like
Okay.
literally, right. We'll talk about obviously what happens right at the end, like with Mark, because we'll focus on Mark and then we'll talk about some of the villains as well, because there's new villains that appear in this. But like, jumping right to the end, like with Mark, like all the way through, he's conflicted, right? Of like, what should I do?
Yeah.
That decision he makes at the end, he is in an impossible situation.
Yes.
Time is against him. Literally, like I know Bulletproof is rushing towards him with that bracelet, but like I watched it like with my husband, and I was like, "What do you think of what Mark did there?" And like both of us were like, "Yep, I would have done the same." Like, you've got to.
I mean, I it didn't feel like he was gonna make it and Bulletproof was gonna make it in time. And like, is that chance worth it that then everyone is contaminated by this? No, it's not.
No, not at all. And like I know, it did do the dramatic thing, which we've seen in movie and TV before, when like he just gets there after Mark's
Yeah,
made the
yeah.
decision, but Mark had no idea that he was going to do that. So like,
No.
it's just make that decision right now. Like, and for me, if I was in that position, absolutely would have done the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, am I supposed to be mad at Mark? Because I'm not mad at Mark.
No.
Like, if anything, I just felt bad that he had to make that decision. Like I more
Mhm.
so feel bad that he is consistently put in these impossible situations where he has to make like a decision that would understandably add to his trauma. Like we're just piling it on top of itself, and like if anything, I feel more bad for him because of that.
Mhm.
Granted, that man maybe had a family, they were upset. Sure, they might hate Mark, but like I don't know. Mark is consistently in like a lose-lose situation where like there is a better loss rather than the big, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, kill the one guy, otherwise the whole world gets possessed by these like stupid squid aliens. So
Right. Like, hello. Like, yeah, like completely agree. But also like, I like that they contrast this with earlier on when like, Dinosaurus, who is one of the new villains that we see, and like Mark does come like very close
yes.
to doing it then, like, because Dinosaurus big character in the comics. You'll see a lot more of him going
Okay.
forward. And like he's voiced by Matthew Rhys. I think that's how you pronounce his surname. He's from like Brothers and Sisters and stuff like that. But he's great, and I love like the difference in the voice between like Dinosaurus and then when he turns into like his human counterpart, and he's just like this weak little kid who's like, "Whoa, wait, no, I didn't mean to,"
Yeah.
which I really really like. But yeah, I love when Mark like I love the introduction of him when it's just like his voice, and Mark's like, "Who the fuck is
Yeah.
this?" You know, like, when he's looking around, like I thought that was really cool. And there's a few moments like this, like there's a few like I wouldn't say this is necessarily horror, but like there's a horror element later on in the sewers, which I loved. But I love this like stylistically how Mark even is just, I know this world. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? Like, I've never had this before. And
I
then his appearance, yeah.
I did think because of like you mentioned, they're like vaguely horror-y. I thought it was going to be I forget what was the guy that you said that was made up for the show that we saw at the end of last season, the like demon
Oh,
dude.
Damien Darkblood.
That's what I
Mm,
thought it was going to be. I was like, oh, it's that guy.
mm,
He's come back. The like guy
right.
that I know is like made up for the show, but then that
Mm.
was not him.
Yeah. So Damien Darkblood is in the initial comics, but it's a storyline. That's what they're making up
Oh,
now.
okay, okay.
Because like so literally when he do you remember in season one, way back 25 years ago, when
Seriously.
Caesar like literally Jesus, when Caesar like sends him down to hell, like he's like, okay, your mission's done, he sends him down, and then like that's the last you ever see of him. So like that's it.
Oh,
So
really?
like yeah, so then like in the end of season three, when we saw when he was down in hell talking to whoever the hell that was, that's all new. So I have no idea what they're doing with him. But yeah, that's a good point. Actually, that would be a cool way to like kind of bring him back. But yeah,
Had we seen the
this
dinosaur before? We hadn't, right?
no, dinosaurs
Okay,
new.
okay.
So yeah, but like he will come back and play quite a big role in this season, definitely going forward. Especially more like working on like Mark's kind of moral compass, which is definitely swaying all over the place right now. You know, like later on, like when he has that conversation with Eve, which we'll get to, and he's like, I was gonna kill that guy. Like I was
Yeah,
ready to kill him. And like you know, is this now me? Like is this and it's interesting where Mark's decisions now like him doing the action or him preventing himself from doing the action, which one weighs heavier on him? You know, and I think that's an interesting thing because obviously when
yeah,
at the end, when he crushed that guy's head and killed him, that was like the right thing to do in that moment. And it's interesting how that, I don't know if that hangs on Mark as much as like when he nearly killed Angstrom and like, you know, he killed Conquest and all of this and like that hangs on him more. And it's just it's really well played and it's great writing. It's great character beats.
yeah. No, I agree. And I just the thing that you mentioned earlier that I really liked is like the parallel between him and Cecil, how like now it's like before he was like, no, 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 no. Like because I did think Cecil was kind of right. Cecil is an
Yeah.
asshole, but he also was kind of right.
Yeah.
And now Mark is like kind of slowly seeing that.
Yeah, he's like finally like tasting some of the Cecil medicine. He's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, actually, guy had a point.
yeah.
But what did you think of Dinosaurus?
It was fine. I was like, don't bite Mark. I was really afraid it was gonna like bite Mark and like
Mm,
I don't know. I also wasn't sure when he was breaking the like metal casts. I was like, oh
yeah.
shit, is that gonna? But then it was like fine.
Hmm.
But I had like a worry of like, oh god, is Mark gonna like fall over and not be able to use his limbs because his casts have come off? Like I was like really worried, but then I guess it was like he was mostly healed up, so it was okay.
Basically, it was like what like Buffy season 4 episode 1, like the armor's hurt, it's not broken. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah,
giving that very much.
yeah,
But yeah, like I did like that as well. Like, you know, because like when we were watching it and he started to chomp down on his arm, I was like, Mark's not losing his arm. Like, this is not happening. Like, Jesus. And then yeah, like when he broke it off and he was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm
yeah.
good. Bam. Yeah, I really like that. But Dinosaurus, just keep him in your mind. He'll be an integral character going forward. But yeah, he's pretty cool for his introduction. I love as well that in this show we can get a fucking dinosaur that talks and we're like, okay, like you know,
I know.
let's let's just go with it.
Out of
Uh,
context, what we're talking about would sound very dumb. Like,
right,
the
right.
dinosaur.
That talks.
you know.
But I guess like speaking of dinosaurs, we can talk about some of the other villains that we get in this. So like the main kind of because we get like three main
Yeah.
villains and two of them are new. I mean, yes, we get the NTs with Conquest as well, but like mainly we get Dinosaurus, we get Universa, who we can talk about next, and then obviously the Sequids as well, which we've seen before. But Universa. So again, she is voiced by a Walking Dead character.
Okay, I thought
It
it was. Denied
Yeah.
Guerrera.
Yes.
Yeah,
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 okay.
yeah. And if obviously Marvel fame as well. Yes, so that is her. So it's such a recognizable voice. Like as soon as
Yeah,
I heard her, I was like, yeah, that's Michonne. Like totally
yeah.
get it. But I love her as well. She's so good and perfect for this role. But yeah, Universa again, like everything here literally is beat by beat in the
Oh
comic.
yeah,
So like,
okay.
yeah, absolutely spot on. So yeah, I really like this again. It's like brand new villain. Don't really know a lot about her. Don't know where she's come from. We got little hints of what she wants, but it just fits so beautifully into the show. I loved her introduction, and I just really loved this character. What did you think of Universa?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down with the strong lady, and
Yeah.
I felt like I liked a little bit that it seems like there might be some like, she hinted at, well, my people need this energy. She's doing it to save her people. So maybe it's like, maybe there can be like an understanding we come to where she's an ally rather than like straight up antagonist.
Hmm.
Which is what I hope because I would like that. I would like Mark to have someone who is like super strong that can like go blow for with him, but is on his side. That would be very nice.
Yes, 100%. And like as well, like you know that there's going to be a big Viltrumite fight that happens. So like if anything, like this should be like Mark making like a mental check of like, okay,
Yeah,
powerful people.
like
Let's write their name down because we're
yeah,
gonna need people. So no, I thought she was badass. I loved as well. Oh, I love this moment when like so obviously our first kind of introduction, she's at the power plant stealing the power. And like you're right, Ian, like obviously dropping a big hint, my people need this power, they're suffering. And that'll come back into it later on when we see her again. But I loved the fight in the power plant with like her, Mark, and Eve. Like I thought that was really cool how like, what's it called? The Staff of Leadership. Such a dumb fucking name, but
yeah,
so comic book, like so
yeah.
funny. And I love when like Mark picks up, she's like, "How dare you touch the Staff of Leadership?" Like, okay. Um, but I did love this fight because obviously, it's leaning into Eve's powers are going a little bit wonky. But yeah, I love the fight like back and forward. Like I love when Eve's freaking out and trying different things. Her powers are failing. But then I just loved when she was like, Universe is right then. She's like, oh fuck it. And then just bam and just like punches her. That literal like strip of like Eve punching her is literally lifted from the comic. It's
Oh,
exactly
really?
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So fun. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, clocked. But yeah, I just thought that was badass. I love like Eve's that type of character where she's like, oh my God, my powers aren't working. Wait, let me just throw fists.
Yeah. No, and it was because I mean, this show kills people so often that I was like, oh, now what's going on? Why are her power like, God, get away, get out of there. Like, I just want her to leave because I was like stressed when it was like she was like making the swords and then it was like shit and they kept disappearing and she's like making the
Hmm.
knives and they disappear. And that character seems super strong, so I was like, "Ugh, is she gonna like punch through Eve?"
Hmm.
I was very glad that it was this all like in the realm of Invincible. Everything that happened this episode was like fairly chill, which is insane to say, but it's true.
So true. God,
No
like
one
we've
got an
come
arm broken, no one died.
literally, yeah, like nobody got like an arm through them, like anything like a
Yeah.
head ripped off, like anything like that. So funny. It's so funny as well because a future guest I'm gonna have on the podcast, like somebody that I work with, my friend Natalie, like her boyfriend has just started from the beginning. So
Mm.
like literally the end of episode one, as you and I have said, Ian, is such a good ending to pull you into the show. So like when he was talking, I was like, oh, like his reaction was, oh my God, why has Nolan done that? Aren't these people his friends? What the hell is going on? And
You're like,
it's
yes,
what
correct.
Yep, yeah, that is the correct response. What the fuck is going on? But that's a great way of introducing you to just when you get comfortable with somebody, they will die. Like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, even like me watching now, I'm like, because I know like they're gonna change things from what I've read. So like I'm like, oh my God, is someone going to lose an arm? Like, is there going
Right.
to be a
Yeah.
big fight? Like, what is going to happen? Like, even I'm like, how are they going to play this? But no, I really liked it. And I like that, going forward, Universe is a really cool character. So just keep her in your mind as well. She's a lot of fun. And I'm intrigued to see like where they're going to go with her in the show as well.
Mm.
But I like this as well because, again, like we've gotten introduced to two brand new villains, and then we've got the sequence back. Then we see Conquest at the end. But again, like this episode, just I think it was just paced so well, where we
Yeah.
got like a little taste of this one, a little taste of that one, and then
Yeah.
then them two go away, and we focus on the sequence, and then like that kind of gets resolved, and then we have Conquest breaking out. It's just yeah, the pacing's really really well done, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I put this in my notes. This is from when he's fighting the dinosaur, but it applies anyway. Like what because I got upset thinking the dinosaur when the dinosaur is breaking through his like metal casts or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, I wrote down, please don't let Mark get bitten or a limb broken because it's basically becoming Sidney Prescott in Scream, where it's like unrealistic that this is happening every time to him.
Like seriously, yeah. It's like Sidney Prescott's like guts must be all over the place. They've been rearranged, they've been stabbed so
Right.
many times. Like it's just a sieve down there.
Like her and Gail both.
Like
Like,
honestly, like leave them alone. Like yeah,
yeah,
by the end of Invincible, Mark's arms are going to be like everywhere, like contorted or something.
seriously.
Um, Bless him. But yeah, speaking of Eve, so let's talk about Eve for a little bit. What did you think of this journey with Eve and her losing her powers? Where are you kind of with that? Do you have any theories? I won't obviously confirm anything, but just wondering what you think there.
No, I don't have any theories. I'm just worried it'll end poorly for the
Mm,
two of them because that's usually where this show goes, where like no one's ever allowed, and they're like their relationship seems pretty like steady right now. It seems like they are in a good spot. March is depressed, but not like it's not because of their relationship. There's no like turmoil there. He has
right.
his trauma and shit.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh God, is she gonna fucking melt in front of him? Like, I'm just like worried that it'll end poorly. That is my only thought on it is don't melt Eve.
Yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah, that's literally like the Wicked Witch of the West. But can you imagine? But no, it's like it's interesting because like we saw obviously such like a big powered Eve in like the last
Yeah,
season. So like to do this, like it's kind of a trope in a way where we see this sometimes when someone's at the peak of their power, we have to like kind of
yeah,
depower them in a way to bring them back down because otherwise they're just unstoppable, right? But it's interesting to see where this goes of like the reasoning why and like how that ties into things. Um, but yeah, I like as well that Eve like isn't becoming like such a victim of that. She still knows like, well, I've got Mark. I can talk to him about this. And
yeah,
even I don't know what the hell's happening with my powers right now. I can kind of create a cube, but then it turns to water on the floor. Like, what is going on? But
yeah,
we'll figure it out. And I like that about Eve, how she tends to be where Mark is in his feelings, often rightfully so, every bit of everything that he's been through. But Eve's kind of like his grounding point all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like, the moment like when they had that talk, like out on the roof, and he's like, I nearly killed that guy. Like,
yeah,
I nearly did it. And Eve is the one that always kind of like checks him back into reality. And he's like, well, Mark, we're in impossible situations. I completely understand. I know you're a great person. I know you'd make the right decision like in the moment. And yeah, they work really well together
yeah,
because as we
yeah,
said, like, they make more sense than what him and Amber do because she is also a superhero. She can get that in a way that that Amber never could, right?
yeah. No, I agree. And again, I like because oftentimes like once a couple gets together, right, a lot of shows want to be like, oh, they're breaking up right away, or like we're adding in this like person getting between them, and I'm glad we're not doing that. It's like they have their own like shit going on,
Right.
but like couple wise, it's like they're like you said, communicating. It seems like they are good, which as I'm saying this, I'm like, I feel like I'm jinxing myself saying this all out loud.
Like next episode, you're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Um, but no, and like Eve is just consistently such a well-written character, like,
Yeah.
one of the best in the show by far. But it does remind me a little bit of like, again, to bring it back, Buffy and Angel in Angel, when, he becomes human and then Buffy's the one that has to defend them both. And equally,
Yeah.
he knows that will never work out. So it's like, it's giving these vibes again. It just reminds me of this, but just shows you, man, after a recent cancellation, how much writing is still so strong and travels through time. Oh my God. But we will not get onto that because we'll hear all night. But that still sucks so
Get a
bad.
nosebleed.
Yeah, literally, like, oh, we melt like Eve, like just
Yes.
Jesus Christ. But I need to talk about the dinner scene with Eve and her parents and Mark. So, I mean, I love all the little details in this as well. The awkwardness, like I love when the camera like just hands on the green beans for no reason. Like, just I love the awkwardness of it. Of just like Mark is clearly uncomfortable. Eve is
Yeah.
very uncomfortable, and like her parents are not making it easy. The mother's kind of trying, but like it's just a mess of a situation. And like Eve knew it was gonna be.
Remind me where we left off with the parent because I thought it was we had reconciled and we were good.
So the last place we kind of saw them, obviously, when Eve was in hospital before she went to fight Conquest, they were at her side, like, then they know that the reason why their daughter like left hospital and went and left is because she saw Mark was getting his ass whooped by Conquest on like the TV
Yeah.
screen. So they obviously have that beef with Mark, which is then kind of goes into what the father says to him outside. But other than that, like they've always kind of just been arsey, but this is like the first proper time and the first intro that Mark's having with her parents.
Mhm.
So this is like the dinner, like the meat,
I think I
which is
just I think I just had thought that the dad had chilled out more, but it seems like he maybe has not.
no, he's still a fucking dick. Um, So, oh, but like I do like all of this. I love like Eve just like glaring at the dad, and when like he tries to ask like her father, right? He's called Adam, unfortunately, but he like Mark asks him, and he's like, oh, like how's work? What is it you do for work? Or like how's work going? He's like, well, I did work in this office, but then that was destroyed in the battle, and like just being a dick, and like
Yeah.
Eve is like, I know where this is going, just shut up.
Yeah.
Um, but God, it's and like as I say, like I love when Mark takes about and he's like, "Wow, these green beans are really nice, Betsy," and like the camera just zooms
Just
in on them.
keeps, yeah.
Yeah, just hangs on them. But yeah, what did you enjoy this scene?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I was unclear and then eventually realized I was like, is this supposed to be the first time he's meeting them? Or like they've done this a few times and he's always a dick, but it was supposed to be the first time, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the first sit down meal is like as boyfriend girlfriend as well, which is like really important.
Yeah.
However, the conversation that Mark has outside with Adam, Eve's dad, he comes across a lot more reasonable in the TV show than what he does when that scene happens in the comic book. And I'm going to read exactly what he says to Mark in the comic book, and then you, Ian, can decide where you sit with him because
Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ. So in the show, he basically like says to Mark, like, oh, whenever I was like little girl, I still think about her as my little girl, and whenever she's been in trouble, times when she's like died or nearly died is when you've been with her or like you've taken her into scenarios, so that's something to think about. So as a father, like that's a good thing to bring up, right? Like
Yeah.
he is like, well, I need to be careful around my daughter. Like I'm noticing that whenever she's in trouble, she's with you, so maybe something to think about. Um, However, this is what he says in the comic. Okay. So he still does the same thing. He offers Mark a cigar and he's like, no. And then he says, I wanted to thank you. I know that my little angel is no angel. I caught her one time with that long-haired boy, that one that died, talking about Rex.
Yeah.
Uh, you know that she had him here for a while. We didn't even know it anyway. I appreciate you giving her a chance, knowing you're not her first. It gets better. She was never really, she never really got just how important virginity is to a woman. Men like it when they're breaking new ground. They want to be the teachers. They want to be in charge. Hard to do that if there's no corners left unexplored, right? Betsy was a virgin when we got together. You can always tell when you're with a virgin. They just act differently, think differently. They're less confident. It's attractive. Don't know if I would have married Betsy if things had been different. I don't like coming in second or third or whatever the case may be. It's good of you to look past my daughter's obvious flaws, shows character. I respect that. Of course, it's not the end of the world when a woman knows a thing or two, right? So I guess there are positives and negatives.
Jesus Christ. What does Mark say in the comic?
He literally, so it cuts to then like him
Oh,
biting
okay.
back inside, and he's sitting down literally on the couch like this. And like Eve's like, what did my dad say to you outside? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, just
God.
isn't that completely different to what we saw on the show?
Ugh. I mean, like, even though the dad was being like vaguely fair about his daughter, I still didn't like him and I still thought he
No.
was being a dick. But like, Jesus Christ, that's like
Hmm.
a million times worse.
Thank you. But yeah, like when I'm watching the scene, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the male chauvinism. I'm waiting for the red pill talk. I'm waiting for it all. And then we just get like a sprinkle of like a little bit of that of him more just being like an ass, like just being like a
Yeah.
know-it-all, and then just being
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, gotta watch out for
Not
my
like
daughter. Mm,
talking about his daughter having sex and God.
literally
Ugh.
like virginity in women and what that means to them. Like, shut up. But yeah, that was just so I was like, after that scene, I paused it and I was like, David, I need to read you something because which is wild. But I do like that we did get that moment with like Eve and her mother as well, like when they were like washing up, because I don't think that's in there. Um,
Okay.
So that was something different where like we got to hear like their perspective and Betsy kind of just being like very kind of like blasé about the whole thing of just been like, well, like you just choose like whatever's available, right? And Eve's kind of like, what are you saying?
Yeah, I was also when Eve is like, "Wait, who are we talking about now?" I was a little bit confused because then it seemed like she was talking about Mark, right? Like what the mom
Mhm.
says after. But I was like, "But why would Mark be the like, this'll do for now choice, right?" Like
Like, how can you ever look at Mark and think of that? Like, Mark's like baby boy, like beautiful. Like, what are you talking
yeah,
about?
exactly. Not only is he like the superhero, super strong and really nice, he's also hot. Like, I don't know what's
Hmm.
the problem here.
I know, right? Don't you be talking about Mark like that,
Yeah.
Betsy. Go and watch your show because your show started. But
Yeah.
yeah, that woman knows nothing. Like it's wild. But she has always been quite passive like that, right? And I think it establishes that with her, where she's just very kind of, oh, just try to keep status quo, even though it's
Mhm.
never working.
Yeah.
Um, like
Because
very
didn't
kind of.
didn't he hit her? Didn't we see that?
I don't know if he hit her. I think he got physical with her, like grabbed her, but I don't
Okay.
think he like laid
I thought
hands.
I couldn't remember if it was implied or like we saw. Okay.
Mm. But I mean, would we be surprised? Hell no.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, creep. But
Ugh.
yeah. But again, it's just, and that's why it kind of builds the character of Eve a little bit more. Why you understand why she broke away and is so independent, because that just ain't her. They just will never appreciate her for who she is. And like, we did learn that they're not her biological parents. Like we saw that in the episode, like with her, how she was like created in a lab essentially. But that's all she's. Apart from like the family that she lost, this is all the family she's ever known, really.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they can never accept her as like the superhero it's always going to be tough for her and it's always going to be combative.
Yeah. Yeah. I just both of them deserve a long vacation with no fights.
Take that trip to Africa, build that house, and just have the time of
Seriously.
their lives. But yeah, let's talk about the sequence. So I really love that sequence in the sewers when like the guys were down there, the workmen, and they were like looking around, and then like it gave me like Alien, like the most recent Alien vibes, like with the
Yeah.
face hugger in the water,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like it jumped out. I loved all of that. Like I love when we get like a genre piece of when like, oh, this is like a taste of horror. Like I love when we
Yeah.
dip into that. That was really, really cool. And like, because when in reality, those little things are creepy as fuck. And if you saw one of them come towards you, you would literally be like, what the hell is going on? But it was nice that like, and again, this plays out very similar kind of beat by beat in the comic of like, it builds the sequence coming back up like this. For all that we did see, like, do you remember in the last season
I
when
did
the
remember. Yes. We
yes,
see
when the
like,
astronaut
yeah.
he vomited one up and then it takes back over him. So I like that in the time that's passed, it's like clearly it's been latching onto people and like had this underground mission. So then when it does become explosive and comes out and, like later on, it's like a full scale thing again.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I do, I like, not that I like them, but I think it works well as like a monster villain thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, definitely.
and like a monolith where it's like they all just kind of smushed together and like whatever. They work and they're creepy and yeah, I couldn't quite remember the like I was like I don't remember the like technicalities with these things. Like
Mm.
I didn't remember how they defeated them last time. I was like I don't remember what is the like
Hmm.
since it's like they just keep going, I couldn't remember how we defeated them last time.
Yeah, there was like a whole thing of when like again it was like trying to get to the lead one. There was like Robot Eve had like this force shield up and like Robot was working on something like inside the force shield which then came down and then it was like going to like the leader and like injecting him with something. It was very
Okay.
similar.
Okay.
But I did like this is very comic book stuff this. So like we've got a villain keeps coming back. We see that in X-Men all the time. But I did love all of this with like the technology, like using the bracelets, blasting
Yeah.
it off, then shooting them with like the teleportation thing. Very comic book, but very fun. And that's why I like, even though it's a big fight, it's really cool. Like I just thought it was a
I
really
agree.
cool thing to see. And like it's nice, like it's all this like combination of like, right, the technology we've seen with Cecil, these other superheroes coming back and working together. And this is like pure comic book thing. And this is what I really liked about this whole sequence.
Yeah, and also like we're getting to see the team in action as a team in a
Hmm.
not like I mean, this is technically a like high risk situation, but it's we don't see it as like, well, they're all gonna die, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
just as like a superhero team functioning as a superhero team in more like regular superhero terms.
Right. Yeah. But you're right, as you said, Ian, like they work really well as like that reoccurring like creature that comes back, so
Yeah.
to speak. And you know, in the back of your mind, you're like, because we've seen so many already, like there's like Doc Seismic who we saw in the last season, like Angstrom we're probably going to see again, like at some point. And
Oh,
you
fucking
know,
Angstrom.
it I know fucking Angstrom. Can't get rid of the guy. Um, but yeah, like even as much as I love Sterling K. Brown, especially in the TV show Paradise, but who voices Angstrom. But yeah, like it'll be fun to see when he comes back. But no, they work as a good, and they always do like a big set piece with them, and that's what I
Hmm.
really like about them. It's like always like a
Yeah.
big set piece in the episode, you know. And this again was the same. Like it was pretty cool. I liked when you know, he was Ruddy. He's going by Rex now, but he'll always be Ruddy to me because I ain't calling him Rex. Like Rex, my baby boy who died. But I like even the sequence when he like goes down into the sewers like with his gun and is like trying to get like the last couple that are down there, and like
Yeah.
that was really cool and pretty tense as well. And I like to see how much he's evolved, like that he actually managed to do it without getting captured, you know?
I was really worried. I was like, oh, he's going down there and he's gonna get a squid on him and this is gonna be miserable.
Yeah, literally. But no, I thought it was really cool. And obviously, you know, we do lead up to like that last moment as well when like Mark is in an impossible situation there. Like he literally is, as we said, and like he makes that decision. Like when he, you know, crushes the guy's head and kills him, and like all of the other heroes are like, whoa, Mark, like this is what you did? Because we've seen so far, like prior to this, Mark has been the one who's been like, oh no, we ain't killing, we ain't doing that. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
right. But
And
he
I
was
thought it
right.
was, I couldn't decide if was it more they were surprised or were they like mad? What did you
I
think?
I think it's a little, I think it's surprise. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I think it's more of like, whoa, like, because they know like Marcus tried to be like the anti-Nolan like all the time, right? Like, he is, you know, he's lived in all of his grief of when like he basically like headbutted Angstrom to death. And like,
Yeah.
he's always trying like everything with Oliver. And he's like, we do not kill. And like, they've seen how much he freaked out at Oliver when he killed them all, the twins, right? And like, this is so out of character for Mark. And it's like, this is the evil Marks that we saw when they all came to this world. This is what Mark has tried to not be. So for him to act like them is very much an out of character moment for Mark. And I think for me, all the Guardians are looking at him like, holy shit, is this you now? I think it was very that vibe for me. What about you?
Yeah, I couldn't quite land. I thought it was maybe both. I wasn't sure.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, no, I feel like it still wasn't Nolan, right? Like Mark
right.
thought about it. It wasn't like whatever, let me just kill this dude real quick. Like that's how Nolan was.
Literally.
So I feel like it's unfair to put that on Mark, but you are right. It's like that's what they're seeing. Like,
Hmm.
oh, you were supposed to be so not like your father. Now you're, but like, no, Nolan would have had no problem doing that and would have done it the moment he got that dude in his hand. He'd have been like, well, squish. Like,
Hmm. And that's the thing as well. Like, you know, the Nolan that we'd seen, as you said, for like a while, like Nolan don't work with anyone. Nolan don't wait a second. Like, Nolan does what Nolan wants to do, right? So, like, the fact that Mark has worked with these people as a team before is already so different from Nolan, right? I know,
yeah,
like, he's younger and he hasn't got the same experience and blah, 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 blah. But still, like, everything they've seen from Mark up until this point, and then that is very different. And
yeah,
like I like that we hang on that moment and it's not just us as a viewer seeing that, but we're seeing the other characters also see that. And that's really cool. That's like that's great writing, that's great comic book moment as well. It's just yeah, it's just that's
yeah,
the meaty character stuff that I really love to see.
yeah. No, I like that too. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
and I'm like, is Cecil gonna piss me off with his reaction to this?
And the thing is, as well, like, if anything, like, because I know, you know, Cecil is the type of person who's like, we need to capture the villains and then, like, we can use them on ours. But I mean, how much can you really capture and train the secret?
Those
It's
things.
like,
Yeah.
it's like a hive mind, you know? So,
Just
like,
like
what
bugs. Yeah.
literally, so, like, what are you going to be doing? Like, are you going to be sending them out into the world to, like, help people go shopping? Like, what are we doing, Cecil? Like, this
Right.
ain't happening. Um, but I guess we can talk a little bit about like some of the other characters as well that we see a little bit of. We see a little bit of Debbie. We see obviously some Oliver in here as well. No, so I like with Debbie, like, you know, previously we've seen her like where, you know, in the last season we saw her walking barefoot right through Chicago, like sitting in her trauma, which again, rightfully so. Like, you know, she's been through it as, you know, in many ways in like emotionally similar to Mark, right? But
Yeah.
I love in
Yeah.
this where she just seems happy, you know, and I
She
really,
does.
I
Her hair's
finally,
down. She seems
yes.
like freer, right?
And I just love like when she's up in bed and her hair's down, she's like, "Come on, Paul, like come back to bed." And like he's like very coy. He's like, "Oh, I get up early and I'm gonna leave." And she's like, "They know that we have sex. Like, what are you doing?" Like Mark and Eve do. Like Oliver even talks about it and makes a joke of it. Like we are totally fine in this household. And Debbie with that hair down, yes, you let that hair down. She looks so good.
Yeah, and I liked that she was right. I liked
Yeah.
when he goes to leave and they're like, "Hey," and what does Oliver say? He's like, "You guys are allowed as Mark and Eve," and I don't say anything to them. Like I was like, "Oh, I like this. I
Yeah.
like that they want their mom to be happy. They're like,
hmm
yeah, you know what? This guy's nice. They like him. I really like when we can do a dynamic like that where the easier thing to do would be like, oh look, they feel weird. Oliver's mean about it.
hmm
But like Oliver is bratty in a good way in that scene. Like I really, and then when Eve walks in, he's like, "Oh, we were just talking about you."
Yeah, great line, great delivery. And
Yeah,
she's like, huh? Like,
yeah,
just loved it, loved it. But yeah, you're right. Like in like another kind of tropey stereotype, we would have been like Oliver saying something like, "Oh my God, like I can hear you
yeah,
all the time," blah blah blah. And Oliver's just like, "Ah, whatever." Like it's a thing. Um, and as we like, and again, Mark even just saying like, it's totally fine, Paul. Like you can stay. Like you don't have to rush out the
yeah,
door. No, and I love that. And I loved like that's like just the Debbie in them again, like that humanity in them, and like that's the way she's raised them, just to be like, you know what? Yeah, we're all good. We're a good family. Like
yeah,
we've had a family where secrets have destroyed us and really torn us apart. So like now we just have a family where like we're all open and we're all good, and this is how it
yeah.
should be because we've seen what it's like to have a family ruined by secrets by that man.
Right, right. But
But
yeah, no, I'm glad. I am glad, but of course, then I'm like, is this man gonna get ripped in half in this season? Like, what terrible thing is gonna happen?
I know, right? And we always have to remember with stuff like this and similar, like Game of Thrones and like The Boys, I guess, and other shows where it's like just when they start to build somebody up.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's always best to be like on your guard because we have been caught up with this shit before. But yeah, I also like the scene when Debbie goes with Oliver to Art and like gets like the new costume made, and like I love that moment of when Art, by the way, voiced by the great Mark Hamill. But
no, I
I
didn't
love
realize that.
yeah. It's like great for such a small role to have Mark
Yeah,
Hamill, but yeah, phenomenal. But I did love that like that setting when the only scene we get of Nolan is in that flashback, right? Like
yeah,
that's it. Like it's so strange to like leave off where we did with him and Alan in space to just have this one little flashback of him here. But I really liked it. Like I love like these little moments of seeing like, how things were. Like and like Nolan is being a bit of a prick in that moment when he's like, I don't like this outfit. It looks shit. And like Debbie's like, no. Like it looks good. It looks fine. It makes you look strong. And like we see her, she's pregnant with Mark and she looks younger. And he's like, oh, actually, no, this will do. And like just to see that influence that Debbie had on Nolan from
yeah,
such like back then, I love it. And it's just again, it just shows you like those little seeds of humanity that like Debbie was like just starting to sow into Nolan, which then made him turn like later on.
yeah. No, I like that, and I was glad that it was like Debbie was reminded of that, but it didn't need to be this like big traumatic thing. It was just like, oh, she's reminded of when Nolan had it, but we're good. Like I liked that it didn't have to be like a thing.
hmm
Because also it is understandable she might be like, there's like, it's like the wound's healing, but it's still a little bit there, and we're like
hmm
dripping some like alcohol on it, where she's like, "Ooh," but then it's fine.
Right.
I also did like the new costume.
Yeah, I do. I like the color scheme and like
Yeah,
the O can stand for Oliver, it doesn't have to stand for Omni Kids, so that can work, I guess. But no, I really liked it. I like the different color scheme, and yeah, it just looks fun. And I like this version of Oliver. So
yeah,
like, I like that he is for all that he is maturing, I guess, growing older. Like, it's nice that this level of maturity, like we're seeing a different shade of Oliver now. Like, he's not that young, like annoying kid. I mean, I did grow to like Oliver later on, but then like now I really like this version. He's just
yeah,
fun. And like
yeah.
again, he's still got that level of unpredictability about him, which again is a fun character to watch because like what will Oliver do? And that's always an interesting question going forward. And that's an interesting question for all the characters, I guess. Now, like even Mark, like now seeing this different turn, it's like, ooh, what will Mark do now? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, it's just nice because it's like, let them have at least they're in their house, not this like bratty screaming child who's always mad at them. Like, I always am gonna prefer like an angsty shitty teen. Like, sure, give me that. Also, like maybe what like is it preteen or is it like just like
I think he's
13,
like on the
14.
yeah, I think he's like on the cusp. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and so like I liked that, and I like I don't know, it feels like last season we wouldn't have even gotten a scene of Oliver and Mark calmly eating food together. Like even
No.
that feels like, oh, finally we can do that.
Right. And like, because like last season it was all about Oliver, like, Debbie had to say, like, no flying in the house, like, no
Yeah,
using your powers, no rushing off into battle. Whereas now he's just like, he can't be fucking asked. He's like, I just want to
yeah,
play my game. Like, this is, I'm living this now, like, whatever. He's like kind of over it, which is fun to see for a superhero. But
yeah,
no, you're
yeah. I
right.
like that.
It is cool. And just to quote Mr. Ian Carlos Crawford, throw that child into a volcano.
I
So
did
yeah,
say that, didn't I?
you 100% said that. And that is now on a t-shirt. But but yeah, the only other note I had about Debbie is I like that moment when I think the big realization for Debbie that her life is kind of moving on is when
Yeah.
Paul says to her at work, like, oh, like we should, I've been wanting to ask you for a while, but maybe we should move in. What do you think? And she's just like, I like the pause that she takes when she kind of looks a
Yes.
little bit horrified when she's like, oh, because like for now, this is just, I guess, being like Debbie's like happy place and relief from the reality of Nolan and like, the hole that he kind of left her in, really. So like this has been her way out of that. But then now it's getting real where she's like, oh shit, am I ready to move on from all of
Yeah.
that? And I really liked that scene. And he's so understandable. He's like, take some time, no rush. Right.
Yes, I like that everyone was reasonable and nice in that scene. No one was
Hmm.
pushy because when you're right, when she had the look of shock, I was like, "Ooh, are we gonna find out she doesn't really like him?" Like I kind of thought that might be it.
Hmm.
But also it's understandable. She's got these two kids at home and she did like just have a pause to be like, "Is that okay?" And then
Hmm.
was like, "Yeah, that's okay." Like I appreciated that we got and like you said, he was like, "Take your time." Like he wasn't being pushy. He was being very sweet about it.
Hmm.
And Debbie deserves that.
Yeah, Debbie deserves some happiness. She deserves somebody who is willing to give her the space to make her own decisions and just be
Mm,
like, you know what, this is on my terms, right?
yeah.
Because she hasn't had that in the longest time. Remember, Debbie was quoted as being seen just like a pet. So like,
Oh, I
it's
don't
so
forget
nice.
that shit. That's why I hate
Oh,
Nolan forever.
that's on the back of the t-shirt that we just said
Yeah.
earlier, Ian. Trust me, that's the other Ian quote. But yeah,
Wait, I
it's
that's like the sorry to interrupt you. That's like that, that community quote where it's like, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at I forget what she says. What is it? Sexism or animal
yeah,
cruelty or
something like
I
that.
feel
Yeah.
like that's me with Nolan, where it's like I can excuse mass murder and murdering everyone on a planet, but I draw the line at calling Debbie a pet.
Debbie a pet.
Like Ian, all
Brilliant.
those things were awful. Why? Like,
Like, did you hear what he called her?
yeah.
All that mass killing he did. Yes, but did you hear what he called her?
But did you hear what he said about Debbie?
So good. But so true. Like, he shouldn't be talking about our Debbie like that. We are Debbie stands on this
She's
podcast. That
so
ain't
sweet and
happening.
wonderful.
She's the best. She can do no wrong. Um, but yeah, so no, again, just to come back to that, like, it's just so nice to see her have this happiness. So nice to
Yeah.
see her get some D in bed as well. Like, woman needs it. Woman has needs,
Everyone
and she
deserves good
deserves it.
sex. If I like you, you
Listen.
deserve good sex.
Absolutely. Go and get it from Paul, who seems like such a nice guy, such a sweet
Yeah.
guy as well. And yeah. And as well, like I like that Paul's the one who's kind of like, oh, like, am I integrating into the family a little bit too
Yes.
much? And like literally everyone's like, Paul, shut the fuck up. Like we don't
Yeah.
care. Like
Yeah.
you're here, you're with my mom, cool. Like that's the general consensus. And I love that.
Yeah. I feel like especially watching the kids like rib him in a like playful way is like, oh,
Hmm.
it is good to have him here. It's fine. No one, it's like you said, he is one of the family now, and they are perfectly okay with that. It feels like it almost feels like they think of their mom the way we think of Debbie, where it's like, good for you,
Yes.
honey. Like you've had a rough time. We want you to have something nice. Like,
High five in her as she comes out the
yeah.
bedroom. Well
Like good for
done,
you,
mom.
mom.
Yeah. But yeah, and I guess that takes us to like, the after credits sting, which was we all knew this was gonna happen,
I
right? Like
know,
we
I know, I
all knew.
know. I knew it was coming, but I didn't want to see it, Adam.
And I like this ending as well when like, so obviously Conquest opens his eyes and like this is beat for beat. Like this is comic book.
Oh
So
yeah.
like when he says like, oh, like, he should have like the boy left me alive, he should have killed me. And obviously like blasts out, butt naked. Again, exactly the same, beat for beat. But I like as well when like, Donald rushes in, he's like, goes to tell Cecil and Cecil just sees it on the screen, he's like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
like in the comic, he actually says like, "Oh fuck," and then like it cuts, and then it's the start of another comic after that. So it's pretty funny. But no, we knew this was coming. We knew this was going to happen. And it's a good little sting as well.
But doesn't Mark doesn't know, right?
No,
Mark didn't. Okay, that's what I thought.
no.
Okay,
And that will be something of conflict. So like, remember
I
Cecil's,
assumed, yeah.
yeah, Cecil's kept things from Mark before. So yeah, because obviously, like, yeah, in the last season, right at the end, like Mark said, "Show me his body, I want to see it." Cecil showed him it, but then when he didn't show him, is that he put him down into that underground bunker, right?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
Mark just saw a body and thought, "All right, he's good, he's dead." So obviously now Cecil's probably thinking, "Oh fuck." The superpowered Viltrumite is now released now in space. Also, I lied to
Also,
Mark.
yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
yes. Pissed off two Viltrumites.
literally. But yeah, that kind of wraps us up with the episode one of this new season. So, kind of, Ian, what are your overall thoughts? I know we gave a little bit earlier on, but kind of now we've gone through it, like overall thoughts of this episode, and then where would you kind of give it a rating out of 10?
Hmm. I struggle with this on my podcast too when it's like, oh, but
Yeah.
this is a really good episode, but I can't give it the same grade as like a favorite episode. So like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, but so I think like B plus.
Hmm?
Well, no, yeah, you gave me numbers. I think like eight.
Yeah.
I think eight. I think eight would
Mhm.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That's what I've got down.
yeah.
Yeah. 8
That's
out of
fair,
10.
right? Yeah.
The thing is as well, like, because Invincible is in what did I even just say? Invincible. I was like, I just blurted a sound out. Invincible is always so strong that like even like I don't know, like the good episodes are still like better than a lot of regular
Yeah, yeah,
TV,
yeah, yeah.
so like they're all super strong. Whereas we will have like, we can think of now like moments in episodes that are bang on 10 out of 10s. But
Yeah.
this is just, it's a solid introductory. It's a solid welcome back, and like, again, I said it earlier, but like the pacing worked really well.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on, but it didn't feel overstuffed, which we can't say that about a lot of other shows.
Yeah, I feel like having the three villains and like three separate encounters could
Hmm.
have felt like, God, we're doing too much here, but it really didn't. It like worked. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it worked really well. And it's nice because, we know we will see more of Dinosaurus. We know we'll see more of Universa. So,
Yeah.
like, even though these were introductions, we know we're going to see these characters again. We're going to have moments with them again. But it was nice that, like, as you said, Ian, like, we didn't get them all together in one. Like,
Yeah.
each of them had their moments. And, like, we saw the Guardians fighting the Sequids. We saw Mark and Eve fight in Universa. Like, Mark dealt with Dinosaurus. And we saw, like, again, it always, like, weaves perfectly. Like, that led into Mark's moment of he nearly killed somebody. Later on,
Right.
he does. So like it's really great writing. It's great to see, and it was a great welcome back. I'm so happy that we're back with the show. It's like for me, it's always a high when Invincible's back. So it's like just great television, like great superhero storytelling again, right?
And now I'm excited because once we finish this recording, I can watch the other two. Because I was like, do not watch the other two.
Hmm.
If I watched all three, I know it would have like messed up how I talked about the episode. So I was like, I have to wait till after the recording to watch the other
I know, right? I know.
one.
But yeah, for me, again, I agree. 8 out of 10. Like this for me, solid, like really good episode, like really good intro back into the show. I mean, God, that previously on, like I was like, Jesus Christ, so much has fucking happened. Like, wow.
Seriously.
Yeah, but thank God. But yeah, let us know what you at home think of this episode. Are you excited for Invincible coming back? I so am. I cannot wait, and it's just so nice, Ian, that we're not waiting like 2 years for like half a season and then waiting like another 10 years for the other half of the season. It's nice to just have it back so consistently now.
I told you this via text, but I'll say it again on air. Like the one of the classes, so I always do a question of the day,
Mm.
and I'm on spring break right now. And the last class before spring break, my question was, what are you looking forward to at spring break? And one of my classes, two kids in a row said Invincible coming back. And then like three other guys from like rows in front of them were like, wait, I'm excited too. And I was like, oh, that's right. That is coming. I'm excited about that. And like we all kind of talked about it for a little bit.
Mm.
And they all got a kick out of because I was like, I hope this season Mark and Eve just like eat pizza and sit down and have a nice day. And they were like, oh yeah, Mark does have like shitty days. I was like, all the time, every day's a shitty day for Mark.
So funny. I love when you text me about that because it's always nice when you find your people, like when you talk about stuff like that, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't think I'd be having this conversation here, but let's do it." That
Because I
happened to me.
think
Yeah.
last year I had one student. I think last year
Yes.
when we were covering, I had one student, just one though. So we would talk about it, me and him. But yeah, sorry,
Right.
I interrupted you.
No, 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 no. I love it. I love hearing this because like something that's happened to me at work where like I mentioned earlier, like yeah, on episode 2, I'm gonna have my like friend at work, Natalie, on who like Natalie, I love it. She's one of the girls, like, but then on my intro at work, when I very first started there, we did like a page of like introducing yourself to people, and you could put all sorts of stuff on there. So I had like a picture of Buffy on there, and I had like other random stuff I'm into, but I had a picture of like the Invincible logo. And she literally came into the room, and I didn't really know her that well at this point, but she just came in, she stopped, and she was like, Adam, I love Invincible. And I was like, damn, we got to have a conversation. And then, like, literally, like last week, she told me about somebody else that works within our building who also loves Invincible, this girl called Brittany. Shout out to Brittany. And then she literally walked in and she stopped, like, at my desk and turned and she was like, damn, Conquest? And I was like, go off. And she was like, when he was whispering into Mark's ear, I was like, I know, right? It was so good. And she was like, but Mark needs to learn how to fight. And I was like, I know, but like he's riddled with trauma and everything right now. And she was like, trauma ain't gonna throw those fists up, is it? It's like so fucking funny. But it's also so very true. But yeah, like when you find your tribe and you find your people like that who are into similar stuff, it's always great. And it's always great when it happens in such the unexpected places. I love that shit. But yes.
I think my students were just more surprised that I watched it, even though like I bring my computer to school, like I use my computer when I'm in class, and you can see it's like X-Men stickers, Buffy stickers, Scream, Batman, Catwoman, you know. So it's like shouldn't be that surprising.
Right, like hello, there'll be like a Mark sticker on there very soon.
Yeah,
hopefully that'd be pretty cool. But yes, again, let us know what you think of Invincible. Are you excited that it's back? What you think of this episode as well? But yes, please, Ian, let everybody know at home where they can find you, find what you've got going on right now as well.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Ian X Carlos. Over at Slayerfest98, we're at the tail end of Angel season 4. Woof. You can find the podcast anywhere you get podcasts and on YouTube, and follow us at SlayerFestX98 and on Patreon. We're going through every episode of Buffy as it turns 25. So we're on season 5, which makes me feel old every time I say it. And then My Bloody Judy is my horror podcast with Zachary Patton Garcia, and we are back and covering new movies. We just put out an episode on Undertone, which I really liked.
Nice. Ooh, cool. I love that. That's awesome. Yes, and just to go obviously on Slayerfest98, that recent interview with Christine Sutherland, amazing. So sweet, nice.
Right?
And like pearls of wisdom coming out of her mouth, you know, just, oh my God, that woman can do, like Debbie, that woman can do no wrong.
Yes. I'm like, put her in something else as a mom. She's so good.
Listen, if they can get Callista Flockhart in there, they can get Christine Sutherland in there somehow. Okay, let's get her in. Let's write her in as Buffy's mom again. It won't make sense, but whatever. Let's do it. Joyce Summers in Invincible. Let's do it.
She's Debbie's friend, Joyce Summers.
Please, like they go to art conventions together. Like they go to the gallery together. It writes itself. Next episode, Debbie has that mask on. But all right, yes. But you can follow the podcast. It's just last week on everywhere. Type that in. You will find us on all social media. You can watch this on YouTube as well. So if you enjoy listening to the episodes, everyone is available to watch on YouTube. You can come see Ian's beautiful face on YouTube there. So just type in last week on YouTube there, and I'll link it to my YouTube as well, so you can find it there. If you want to follow me, I'm at Straughan87 on everything. Type that in. You'll see my face there as well. But Ian, thanks again so much for coming back on to cover Invincible. This is always a pleasure. I always look forward to it. And yeah, we'll have you back on very soon to talk more Invincible.
Excited, and thank you for having me on.
Of course. Until next time, everyone, take care. Bye.
Bye.